Business with a servant's heart. Welcome to the podcast. Inspiration, motivation takes. Listen to the podcast. We're all about to talk about life. Our guests will share their life story. We want you to success in life and business. We're ready and we will start shortly. We're gonna talk about life. We're going to speak on business. You're gonna shine bright. We are going to witness. Business with a servant's heart. With hosts Steve, Ramona, and Ray. Inspiration, education talks. Listen to the podcast.
Welcome, everyone, to Doing Business with a Servant's Heart podcast. So fired up to have you join us today. Got a great guest across the pond in the UK. Yeah, isn't this great how we could go across the pond? Really doesn't cost anything but the internet, and that's really cool. His podcast was dedicated to explore the idea of having a purpose, servant's heart. What kind of impact can you make in your work, in your life with that servant's heart? And my guests, we're going to talk about that, talk about how they work with their industry, how they work with people, because service can come in many different ways. Also, to my guests, especially today, are going to motivate you, inspire you, and educate you. Might be all three, might be one of them, but if you get any of those, you're going to walk away with some notes and some great ideas to move yourself forward. Homework today. Yes, this is like school, but it's simple homework. I want you to think about how you're going to serve yourself and others today, and what impact you'll create today. Now, part of that homework is today's the key word. Start today. Entrepreneurs, you out there, I know a lot of you listen. We wait, I'll do that email tomorrow. I'll do this thing next week. And we wait and months go by. With service, don't wait, because it's so easy to do, but it changes your life and the person you're serving as well. And that's the power of serving. I want to thank our incredible sponsor, Pantheon Alliance. Imagine joining a community of highly successful, highly income earning business owners and entrepreneurs who are building a thought leader platform to change and impact the world. If you want more information on that, just reach out to me and I'll get you all the information. You'll see a link in the show notes as well. With that being said, impact, difference. Well, corporate needs a lot of help. After COVID, corporate world's all over the place, across the world, not just the United States. And my guest today is going to talk about serving with an impact and much, much more. I want to welcome to Sylvia. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Steve. Such a pleasure to talk to you today.
I love my international folks with that great accent. It's so awesome. What inspired you to be an executive coach and work in corporate?
It came very naturally. I worked in corporate, and I found out that learning doesn't happen from books. Learning doesn't can happen from books, can happen on the job. But what holds people back most is not that they don't know enough or that they don't have experience, but what is inside them. But what maybe holds them back in terms of beliefs, in terms of habits, and that is more an inner journey than something that I learn because I follow a course, I read a book, etc.
Yeah,
and that is what the power of coaching is.
Yeah, and you said, I'm not saying not to read books, but really experiencing it, being mentored by that person that's done it, so powerful. And that's what you've done. How does experience help people make decisions in their work life and their personal life?
You mean experience
their
to do something?
Past experiences, yeah.
That's a good question. For me, experience is what teaches me to be able to make choices. So if I've done something in the past, I can either repeat the same mistakes again and again and again, or I can say, hey, hang on, how did that go? And then think, what did I do there? What was the outcome? And what is it that actually I want to achieve? So what I have learned is that experience doesn't make you automatically a better person or a smarter person or a better worker, a better leader. It is by observing what you do and what the outcomes are, and then being able to make conscious choices that you really make a shift, a difference.
Take
That
action.
again is what coaching is about, because
Yeah.
coaching helps people to be more aware of what we're actually doing, and therefore be able to make better choices.
Yeah, and accountability, which you're so great
Yeah.
at, which is, we could say, I'm going to walk today, and they don't go. But if you're on my ear going, hey, Steve, did you walk today? More chances are I'm going to walk again. Action. So experiences, let's take the action, like you said. What's your thoughts on inaction, no action, or excuse me, the right action, the wrong action, or inaction?
I love that, because can be action, hyperaction, and right and wrong action. So action is better than perfection. Very often, like this is to think and want to be perfect and then not do anything. That doesn't really help. So action also helps us to fine tune. So I do something and then I find out, well, that wasn't perfect. So I do a bit better, a bit differently. So action is a great thing to not only do something, but to do it right. It's again the same thing. If we then automatically act without first knowing where we want to go, like in a minimal way, and then without being conscious of what we're actually doing and achieving, then we risk doing like the wrong action. Mm. And right action comes, in my experience, from having like starting out with an intention and a purpose. Actually, that's where I want to go. I don't need a big plan, but then yet need an idea of where I want to go and what I want to achieve. And then I can get to right action, because otherwise it's confused action.
Love
Or
that.
hyperaction.
I love the hyperaction too, because that's that next step. And audience,
Yeah.
what I want you to hear, and I tell all the time, is making the wrong action, wrong decision. You can come from that. You can't come from no decision or inaction. You just stay neutral and things pass you by. So take those actions with as much research and knowledge you can, but take the action. I've talked to people that have, I'm going to start a podcast, and 6 months go by and they haven't started a podcast. How many people could they have met if they had started it? And I love that you don't need to be perfect, just take action. This lady is a rock star. I'm already feeling it. But let's add to that. Let's add to the SMART power method. I'm so curious to learn more about it and how you work it in your program.
So the SMART power method came from my book, Who's in Charge, which is about energy, power, and legacy. And then power became like the central part, the most important part of that, because power is basically the one of the central currencies of human interaction. Power is what creates impact. Power is what often people want to get in order to do something. So power is hugely important in human interaction. And then what I learn is that often we have a wrong idea about what power is. So we mistake it for force and control. So if I control everything, if I have a bigger muscle, like more money, etc., then I have more power. And that is actually not exactly right, because you might have more control, you might have more force or more firepower, but it's not necessary that you have more power, because power means the capability to achieve intended outcomes. I sometimes compare it also to either a kid throwing around like the board game because they're losing, like, so they have the possibility to wreak havoc, but that's not power. They've just created a mess.
Just a tantrum. It really
Yeah,
was.
exactly. So creating a mess, like being able to create havoc, is not power. That's tantrum, and it doesn't really. It's not a reflection of power. Power is when you know what you want, and you are able to take the right action, as you said before, in order to achieve that. And in the world in which we live in today, which is highly complex and very fast moving, often chaotic, like the force and control method of power doesn't work anymore. Maybe it worked like 500 years ago, when we had like little countries and big armies, and it was fairly simple to say, like, if I push here, then that will happen. Today, that is no longer the case. Like with stock markets and borders and migrant flows, etc. It's not that obvious that if we push here, then that will come out. And therefore, smart power as opposed to old power. And smart power is actually, in the end, it turned out not only to be smart because it's clever, but it's an acronym, and it stands for systemic, merging, so bringing things together, authentic, personal, relational, and transformational. So very briefly, systemic means if you only know and see the little particles on the board game, but not the system, what is actually going on and how they fit together. And if I move that little piece, how will it affect the other pieces? Today, you do not have power. So it's systemic power. You have to understand and think systems. The second thing is merging power. This is actually related to the fourth, which is relational. Merging means it's even a bit more than relational. It means that I'm willing and able to give up pieces of my power in order to merge it with other people's power. So together we have more power. Yeah. And that requires trust and the willingness to collaborate. I see that you want to jump in.
No, I'm just thinking back in history. How many people had lots of money, supposedly power, but became drug addicts, became criminals? Yeah. You know, they're like, because they have billions and millions of dollars doesn't mean they're good people.
No.
And smart, audience, he's genius, because smart is the definition of a servant's heart. Transformational, relatable. Yeah. So I'm going to borrow that, and audience, I would borrow that as well.
So we are together here.
Yes, we are. Oh, it's now, because when you came on or reached out to be a guest, that's what I saw, because it seems that people need to have more definition of servant's heart, and you nailed it with the book and your method. Tell us the story of somebody you work with the smart power method, and what happened. What was the end result?
Well, that smart power is really different aspects, but I can think of a few of my colleagues in corporate leaders who had the ability to see the system and work with the system. So not like me and my department, and we do like this, and I have to achieve my KPIs, etc. But like, how does actually, if I like pull here, what happens then? So systemic, merging. Like, I am thinking of one female leader in particular who stood out, and she's also in my book because she was fantastic. She stood out because she was able to think, well, I do not have to show everyone that I'm the smarter person in the room. I don't have to hide information of the contrary. I will share information, because then I will like be more effective. And what happened actually, that she was the one who rose to the highest positions in the company because people trusted her, they followed her, and she didn't have to work so hard either, because I mean, she worked hard because she was very dedicated, but she didn't have to struggle against others because people liked to follow her. So that was the merging up part. And then it's like, I'm thinking of others even more who had this authentic personal power, like a way of showing up that showed warmth and groundedness. So people want to listen to you, and to they can trust you because the way that you show up as a person. And then, of course, these people who are very good in creating relationships and networks, because we don't do things alone. We only do things because we have these networks and relationships. And then it's very much, the last one is very much related to what you do. The ability to create transformation. And for me, that is linked, like the people who have a purpose, because transformational power comes from the power of purpose. Like if you only do your little thing, you like, it's like the story of the people who build a cathedral. There's the person, you ask him, like he says, I'm putting stones one on top of the other. The second person says, I'm building a wall. And the third person says, I'm building a cathedral. It's like to have a purpose that is bigger than the little stones. And that is what enables you to create something great and therefore be powerful, the transformational part.
Throwing out some incredible tips. That brick to cathedral is so powerful, because and none of them are wrong. Guys, brick by brick, that's his, that's his purpose right there. But the other person is building a cathedral, it's purpose good. He'll probably grow much faster. Mm-hmm. You said something that I don't want to gloss over. You said she didn't need to be the smartest. which everybody out there has got to take that and run with it. You don't need to be smart to be powerful and successful. It comes from the heart, not the head. And you said that earlier about books.
Yeah.
Talk about the heart in business, because I think it's missing. I think love in business, I say, hey, I love my employee Sylvia, and people are like, oh, you can't HR. And talk about that. If they get freaked out, like, you can't say you love your employee.
Yeah. I love that topic. It's in my book, and I've written articles about it, because it's almost like a no word. You can't use the word love in business, because that's no, that's not professional, or it's like, it's naive to think that love has anything to do with business, or with business success, or with power. And it's really the opposite. And the way to understand that is to see that it's not about something like romantic love, or being like starry-eyed and I'm in my love. It's on the one hand about creativity, because love is not the opposite of hate, it's the opposite of fear. If someone comes from fear, they are fairly stuck. They won't create a lot. If someone comes from love, they come from passion, the desire to create something. And so nothing will stop them. That's the one thing. The other is the loving regard to other people. And again, that doesn't have to anything to do with romantic love, or with being starry-eyed. It means that I am connected to other human beings, that I'm interested in how they're doing. And when I do that, I give that space, it completely changes the way that I lead and the way that other people follow me. And so that's this part, like the creativity and the caring connection to other people, that make a huge difference in people's power.
Love to follow me too. An audience, what she means is side by side. I'm going to speak for you, and I think I'm correct, because some people hear that and go, follow, well, so I got all these people behind me. No, that's not a leader. I don't think, and I don't want to speak for you, but I think you're the same way. You're going to follow side by side, and maybe they pass you up and they go start their own business because you've taught them. Universe loves that stuff. You're extremely successful. I've talked to many successful people on this show, but they all had challenges, some big, some small. What's one challenge you overcome to be where you are today?
For instance, needing to show to people that I'm smart. Like, I grew up in a family where I was the girl, and the parents thought that the boy was smart and the girl was sweet. And so I needed to tell people that I'm smart, and I was doubting that I was smart. So I spent a lot of my energy telling people that I was smart. And then I realized, actually, that was a given. People knew that already, or they believed that. And all the struggle that I put into that was actually holding me back. It was holding me back from being simple, from simply being there and saying what I thought, and from having more energy available to connect to people and ask questions, and being also able to say, well, I don't understand this. Can you please explain to me?
Yeah.
And so, and I'm saying that because it's true. That's a struggle that I overcame. And I know that I'm not the only person, because we are so much educated to be smart. Our school system, our educational system, our society shows us, that teaches we have to show people that we are smart. It's not that important. We do our thing, but how we are with people and how we are able to co-create ideas with other people, that's another thing that I learned. Like, not to come in like, I've thought about that and therefore my idea has to win. Completely uninteresting, because it's much more interesting and much more valuable to come in with, hey guys, this is what I've so far thought about. What are your ideas? Because then I can learn from the others, and together we can we always will create something that is stronger, more powerful, more effective than what any single one of us could have thought up alone.
Winning as a community, as a tribe, is so much more powerful than, me and you can win an award, and that's great. Of course, we probably have a team that did that, but when you can share in the fruits of victory with other people, and not only bring some following, you become a good leader. Yeah. Military teaches that all the time. They're so humble out there, and they're dealing with lives every day. We're coming close to the end here. What is one piece of advice you'd give an executive to say, I need a better culture here? Because culture is so important in business. I think that's part of what you do. Like, I'm looking at my culture. It's not good. What steps do I take to make it better?
It always depends really what is going on, but what I often see that is going on, it's a question of either trust or engagement. And the two, of course, are related. And when we speak about trust, what is really most important about trust in organizations is the like what we call vulnerability-based trust. It's like the ability not necessarily to tell everyone about my private life, because sometimes people get that wrong. Like being vulnerable means I have to tell them everything about. No, I can, but that's not what it is about. What this is about is to be able to say, hey, sorry, Steve, yesterday I really messed up. I want to apologize, or I was wrong about that, or I'm not sure. I have to look that up. So to be honest, I'm really passionate about that. That is really important for me, I believe. So that's a value. So to open up about something that is important to me rather than hiding behind formulas or like it's written in the books. These things really create trust. So that trust is one thing, and leaders have to lead by example on that one. So that's a tip that I would give. And then it's engagement. That is very important because people, I think, especially nowadays, they can withdraw from like the company and do their own thing and not be so engaged, and then the company doesn't work so well. And that is a lot about people's belonging, which again is related to trust and like the ability to also to work together. And then also to, am I being challenged here? Am I being like, is my opinion, my work really valued? And there, my experiences as a leader, when we ask our people, what do you think about that? Tell me your thoughts. Not like what you wrote in the paper, but like, why should we be doing that? What's this about? Like really to engage them with their thinking. Then we also engage them more into like to have a stake in what we're doing rather than just like do this, do that, have it done by Monday. That then becomes too transactional, like to be more transformational, to be more engaging. These were my two tips.
Incredible tips, because I'm going to use we talked about before the show, the dance between trust and engagement. An audience, you can have engagement, it's negative, it will not work. You suck what you do, sorry my language, you're terrible, this, and you're always negative, that's the wrong engagement. Because then build trust, and vice versa. Trust is by lying to people, think they're going to trust you. I love that. And it's simple, but it's hard because this old thing on top of our head is our roadblock sometimes. And I've had problems with vulnerability for many years. I'm finally fixing it and being very humble out there. You've helped me today, because now it reminds me, hey, I made a mistake. Okay, I wrote the wrong email to the wrong person. Not a big deal. The military can be humble and say, I made a mistake. I could have killed 100 people. And they admit it as generals. We can admit anything, and it's not going to be as big as that. Let's end with, we ran overtime, which I'm so glad because you're so awesome. I knew we would, and it's okay. There's no podcast God coming down to give me wrath. It's just a little more time. Fun question to learn more about you. So in Europe, I've reserved a restaurant for you, a table of 4, and you'll sit in one of the chairs. So you have 3 empty chairs. Who would you invite, whether they're dead or alive, and what food would you order?
Oh, together with them. Wonderful.
Yes.
Dead or alive, who I would like to meet. Ooh. I would definitely invite Nelson Mandela. On the same line, the Dalai Lama, definitely. And I would invite I would invite Christine Lagarde.
Interesting. Yeah.
Yeah. of ex-IMF, ECB now. Like she's a rock star.
She is really, yeah.
Um,
What are they
and
eating?
and I think I would invite Michelle Obama.
What a table. Holy moly.
Yeah, that would be such an honor. And such a pleasure. And I think what I would have then, what could we eat?
It could be
Should
your
be something.
favorite. Your favorite that you want to share with the group or something.
Well, I think we should have some wonderful Indian food, which I love.
There you go. What a table. You know, sometimes when I ask these questions, I wish they'd come true because I'd love to bring a chair up there and be the fifth, sixth going, can I just listen? Fantastic show. God bless everything you're doing. You're an executive coach, but you're much, much more. You care. You have a servant's heart. And it's wonderful. I know people listening are going to go, I need to talk to Sylvia. I need to connect with her. How can they do that?
They can reach me anytime through my website, which is smartpowermethod.com, and also through LinkedIn. I'm there. They can find me through my name, and anytime would be a great pleasure.
And you USA folks, you can go across the pond with just a click of a button. Isn't it beautiful how we can do that?
Exactly.
And the name of the book again and where they can find it.
The name of the book is Who's in Charge? Lead with Real Power and Have an Impact in a Chaotic World. And it's in some bookstores, but mostly simply on Amazon, any Amazon site.
Very easy. Do a quick search. And I'll have the links in the description notes as well. So you can grab those as and I love that. Lead with Power. Great name. It's caught my ear. It's really caught my ear. And audience, thank you again, Sylvia. I want to give you homework at the end. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. And I always describe it because I know a lot of people out there say describe my YouTube. And I'm glad people do. But here's why I like you to do it. And I've been doing it myself, is when you subscribe, you get these links and you listen to Sylvia's show and go, man, I just talked to my cousin or my brother. He needs to learn more about power. Share the link. You just gave them a gift, because if the journey goes, they listen and go, oh my God, I got to reach out. They go to her website and maybe they ask her a question and it changes their life. I'm not talking big changes, but this makes an impact. You gave them a gift and they gave you a gift back by, taking your advice by listening to that video. So use your podcast, whether it's mine or somebody else's, subscribe to them and use them as gifts and sharing them and building power with people. Using what Sylvia has done over these years. They're such a great way of building a power that's so real. With that being said, me and Sylvia want to thank all of you for watching or listening to this podcast. And we'll see you all in the next episode of Doing Business with a Servant's Heart. Have a great day, everyone.